Well, hello everybody. I am Louise Eddington. I am the Cosmic Owl from Cosmic Owl Astrology. And lost one of my tags. Anyway, oh, there it is. It was tickling me. Anyway, hello. I'm recording this on the Aquarius new moon, and oh boy, this energy's been intense. It's like my mind's been going like 100 miles to the to whatever and lack of sleep, and this Aquarian energy is very kind of fritzy and very crazy. And it's wonderful. But so the new moon is one of big awakenings. All right, this is like kapow. We have it squaring Uranus. So I'm actually going to share. Oh, let me make sure, because I was doing some. Oh yeah, good point. I was doing some recordings for some clients, so I don't want to share their details. That would not be good. I would have to start again. So here we are now. All right, the moon is now at 2 degrees and 42 minutes and approaching the sun, which is already at 4 degrees. Also at 2 degrees, we have Pallas Athena. So we've had a semi-sextile, I mean, from the moon to Pallas Athena in Capricorn. We've also got the moon was in sextile to Chiron and is now in square to Uranus. So we're kind of under the new moon as I approach, and the new moon is in about 3 hours time, I think. And then it's going to, the moon is going to move on and sextile Black Moon Lilith there. So it's kind of very fritzy. Potential for awakening and kind of healing is enormous. So here you see the moon has moved in an hour. It will move on to 3:14, and then will sextile Black Moon Lilith, as I said. And then we have the new moon, a bit longer than I said. So let me get it to the point. But this is not the whole point of this recording. I just wanted to fill you in where we were right now. So the new moon is at 4 degrees 21 minutes. I have to say, I kind of had a laugh with my friend Jen Duchenne, who I do the Weirdly Magical podcast with. We both woke up at 4:20 this morning, and it kind of struck in my mind because of the 4:20 pop thing. So I was chuckling about that. But then my funny bone's being activated by all this air energy, because I have an airy moon. My Gemini moon is just kind of going, oh, it's funny. Anyway, plus all this is, yeah, you don't want to know. So then we have the new moon, right? So after that, the new moon moves on, and we have a big aspect coming up in 2 days' time that I want to talk about, and I'm going to probably talk quite at length. So this is quite a long video. So please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of these videos this year, and click that little bell so you get notified when I upload new videos. The more subscribers I have, the more people that watch my videos, the more attention YouTube gives it, because the algorithms, all that kind of stuff. So I want to move on 2 days. So we're under the new moon. The moon will be in Aquarius till Sunday, so you've got time to do your new moon intentions. I will say it's probably ideal before it goes void, which is, oh, I've got so many bits of paper. I want to tell you, because I want to talk to you about so much. The new moon is going void tomorrow at 12:06 p.m. Mountain time, and will be void for 24, almost 29 hours. Wow, really? That is a long void, but thankfully it's on a weekend. So don't be starting anything over the weekend. So set those intentions before it goes void, really. But then what we have brewing now, and it's been brewing underneath all these other energies, is this exact square between Pluto and Eris. Now, I'm going to change my screen share because I want to do a quick overview of Eris, and I want to use some slides that I made for a presentation I did for Cosmic Intelligence Agency. So here we are. So the Mars Eris cycle I was talking about. Why am I not at the beginning here? So let's go back to the beginning because I want to give you some facts about Eris. Okay, right. So Eris, I believe she is she's taking down the facade. If we think about the myths, she threw in the apple to this wedding of Thetis and I can't remember the other one's name. Basically, all the rich, beautiful elites of the gods and goddesses, and she was not invited to the wedding because she was thought to be too ugly and too disruptive and too mean. Because she's discordant, but discord isn't always bad, is it? Really? So she's in there throwing this apple in, and it resulted in the apple said to the fairest, and the apple resulted in a bit of a fight between the goddesses about over who was the fairest, and the judgment of who was the fairest was passed to Paris. So you may have heard of the judgment of Paris, and it ultimately led to the Trojan War. So Eris didn't really start the Trojan War that led to the fall of Troy, but she did throw the apple in. That revealed the artifice and corruption of the elites. Does that sound like something that's going on today? Okay. So I want to give thanks to Deborah Norton-Kirsten, who shared some ideas and some research with me. I've been looking into it more, and I'm still looking into it. So I wanted to give you a couple of quotes. Our real discoveries come from chaos, from going to the place that looks wrong and stupid and foolish. Okay. And then discord on one level is harmony on another. And that's from the glorious Alan Watts, who's a major hero. So Eris was discovered in 2005. She has an orbital period of 560 years. So it's almost twice as slow as Pluto, which was the other one. She's got a very elliptical orbit, as you can see. I don't know where my mouse has gone, so you'll have to just look at the picture and see that she's that red orbit that we're the dot in the middle, the Earth. And Eris is sometimes much closer to Earth and moving faster, and sometimes she's kind of miles and miles away. So she was originally named Xena by discoverer Mike Brown, and interestingly, this is a very lawless energy. She doesn't kind of follow the norms, as you can see by her orbit. And Xena was played by Lucy Lawless. She spends a full quarter of her transit in the sign of Aries. Entered the sign of Aries in 1927. Therefore, most people alive have Eris in Aries. She's 27% more massive than Pluto. Her discovery as the 10th planet was earth-shattering and very discordant because her discovery caused the astronomical community to demote Pluto to dwarf planet, name Eris a dwarf planet, and then promote Eris to the Ceres, who was previously thought to be an asteroid, to dwarf planet. And since then, we've got this explosion of dwarf planet discoveries, but I'm not going to go into all of that in this recording. So Eris mythology, she was the goddess of chaos, strife, and discord. She was the daughter of Nyx, who was the primordial goddess of night. So she kind of just, it was kind of created from the cosmic soup. She was the sister of Aries. Interesting that we have this Aries series I have not had a chance to watch yet. Started on Netflix, and I must watch it. And she was the daughter of, or other myths thought she was the daughter of Hera and Zeus, and born from Zeus's head, and Zeus is Jupiter. So we've got conflicting myths. All right. I talked about the myth already. So Eris keywords, and I agree with these. I still agree with these. Liberation, well, I created this, but I got some of the words from other people. She's liberation, she's discord, she's the revealer of artifice, she's the renegade, she's lawless, reckless, she's strife, unfairness and fairness, whistleblower, table shaker, poetic justice, taking a stand, facade remover, trickster, marginalization, uninvited, the other, and the apple cart upsetter. So she kind of represents all outsiders, all the marginalized peoples of the world, really. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I keep sharing stuff that she said on Facebook and going Eris in my thing, because oftentimes the most righteous thing you can do is shake the table. Alexandria Cortez said, and just lately she's been saying other things too. She's like, we have to bring fire in. This is one of the latest, and Eris is in Aries. She's saying things more and more radical. She is the table shaker. She is the outsider. You know, she's a bartender. She was a volunteer activist for Bernie Sanders in the last election. She's a smart woman. She went to college, she got a degree, but she's not like, you know, your lawyer and your elite. She was not wealthy. She couldn't even afford her rent when she first got elected to Congress, because they were expected to get the office before they started in office. So, you know, she's an outsider. So here's her chart, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as Eris. And in her chart, so, oh, I wish this is working. So Eris, if you look at the houses, you can see Eris down there in house number 4 at about 5 o'clock on the chart. And so she's at 16 degrees. It's kind of that upside down arrow that you see there. So she's kind of pointing down, causing discord going in. And she is opposing Juno, who is the marriage asteroid, but also the rights of the abused and oppressed. She's opposing Mars. She's opposing the Sun, and widely opposing Black Moon Lilith up there in Libra at about 11 o'clock in the 10th house. And we do have her time. It's an astrologer found it by asking on Twitter. But she's not only opposing that, her Eris is also in square to Chiron, the wounded healer, in Cancer. And we've had all these eclipses in Cancer Capricorn, and the North Node is in Cancer, asking us to remember that we're one big family. I kind of see it as the social democrat of North Nodes, because it's the nurturing, it reminds me of growing up in the UK, where we looked after people from cradle to the grave, you know. It was, and then she's got Jupiter there over in Cancer. This is at about 2 o'clock on the chart. And that's square to Eris and all that Libra stuff. And then opposing that, so she has a grand cardinal grand cross, okay. She has Vesta in Capricorn. All this Capricorn's been going over her stuff too. And that is sacred devotion. And she is basically devoted to the common man, to bringing healing. So whether you agree with her or not, that's her chart. So on her discovery, Eris's, we had a bit of a year. Charles, Prince of Wales, married Camilla Parker Bowles. And, you know, that was kind of a bit of a shaking the table of royalty, because she was a divorcee and all the problems he'd had with Princess Diana. And we had Hurricane Katrina. Angela Merkel became first female Chancellor of Germany. The Provisional IRA called an end, finally, to their 30-year-long armed campaign in Northern Ireland, which was very relevant to me because I lived in Northern Ireland during the height of the Troubles. Condoleezza Rice was first African-American to become Secretary of State. So these were all kind of table-shaking energies in their own way. Hurricane Wilma became the most intense Atlantic hurricane on record. I think that's been beaten now. And Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was elected president of Liberia, first woman to lead an African country. So Eris's discovery itself started to shake things up. So I love this quote from Sarah Varkas, astrologer. Unlike Mars, who will fight to impose, Eris fights to expose. Ooh. And she said, I see the Eris personality as one who brings in new ideas, new concepts that challenge our rapidly becoming outmoded thinking and concepts. In our personal charts, Eris can challenge us to embrace the new so that we are morphed in the process. I see Eris as a benefic, albeit a challenging benefic. Philip Sedgwick, he's a great astrologer too, and I agree with all that. The discord and disruption that Eris creates often results in a positive outcome in the longer term, because disrupting events can catalyze significant event shifts in our own lives that we would not otherwise initiate on our own, shifts that lead to more appropriate outcomes. And that's Nick Anthony Fiorenza. So 23, this square is at 23 degrees, and I just want to say why that's significant. The Discordianists, they worship Eris. They believe 23 is holy and associated with Eris. 23 Grand Masters who have composed the Knights Templar. 23 pairs of chromosomes in human beings. Normal physical biorhythm for human beings is 23 days. It's known as a portal for weirdly magical chaos. For Beku Fatumase is one of my teachers, and he taught me that. The number of articulations in the human arm is 23. 23 axioms in geometry of Euclid. Circulation of blood through all of the human body takes 23 seconds. We've also got 23, I can't remember what you call them, bits that stick out. We've got 10 fingers, 10 toes, and 2 ears and a nose, so 23. So 23 is a very kind of important number, especially in the human psyche. So Eris is hovering around the 23 mark for most of 2018 through to April 25th, 2020. And then we'll go back to 23 as well, by the way. And to my mind, is a fulcrum of DNA shifting change. So back on April 2nd, 2019, I was looking at this chart, and Eris was squaring the lunar nodes then, and the nodes were on Pluto. So the shakeups were really beginning, okay? But Pluto was at 23 degrees and 1 minute, and Eris was at 23 degrees and 30 minutes then. And then Pluto went retrograde, they separated out of it. So Eris in Aries, we could see that, just before she went into Aries, the 19th Amendment was ratified, giving women the vote. The flappers in the 20th, just as she was shifting from the last sign, Pisces, into the new sign, Aries, all of this. I'm not going to read all these things. Pluto Eris cycle. Okay, I'm actually going to go off the script of this because I've been doing a lot more work on it, but I do want to say that the cycle began December the 15th, 1756 at 18 Sagittarius. The first quarter square, we actually had 9 squares, and that was from 24 Gemini to 24 Pisces, and it hovered between 24, 25 and 26 degrees, always Gemini to Pisces. The Dalai Lama fled Tibet, and the opposition, we actually had the opposition with 5 exact oppositions from November 20th, 76 to August 15th, 1978. So I've kind of gone a bit deeper than this. But on the opposition, we can see that Apple Computers was founded, Eris and the Apple. Barbara Walters, first female nightly network news anchor and the first landing on Mars. And that actually shook up expectations of Mars too, because we discovered there was actually water on Mars, previously thought to be this just dry, arid place. Now, this was the Saturn Eris cycle. I don't really want to look at that today. And I looked at the Mars and Ceres. I will be looking at all of these going forward. And these are 2020 Eris aspects. So I do want to just quickly go over these. So Ceres squared Eris on January the 13th, right after we had the Saturn-Pluto conjunction with Ceres conjunct 2. Saturn then squared Eris on June the 16th. Now we have the Pluto square Eris. Mars will come up to square Eris on March the 21st. That's a pretty big day. Jupiter is moving through Capricorn and will square Eris on March the 26th. And then Pallas Athena will square Eris on March the 27th. But then we also have Pluto squaring Eris again on June the 14th. And I'm going to move away from some of that. Oh, these are questions you can ask about your own Eris, but and where this 23 degrees Capricorn Eris is in your chart. And I like this quote for Eris too. I am no bird and no net ensnares me. I am a free human being with an independent will. So yeah, there you go. Buy my books, blah, blah, blah. LouiseEddington.com, you can find me, but it's also in here. So I'm going to stop that share. And I'm going to talk about the dates of the Pluto Eris squares. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all together, exact squares, starting this Sunday. Then there's the next one is on June the 14th at 24 Capricorn to 24 Aries. Then December the 10th, back at 23 Capricorn to 23 Aries. Then we finish up at the end of next year, August the 27th at 24, and October the 8th, 2021 at 24, Capricorn to Aries again. Now, I printed off all these things going back to the year 0, the year 1. Okay. So I wanted to look for when Pluto was in Capricorn and Eris was in Aries in the whole time since our calendar began. So I'm just checking I haven't missed anything, because I don't think we've ever experienced it. All right. I'm pretty sure we've never experienced it. There was a Pluto square from Pluto in Cancer to Eris in Aries. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 exact squares from 948 to 951 BC. Not BC. CE, Common Era, of course. And then I'm just checking I haven't missed anything, because I cannot believe we've not had this at all. Well, I can actually, and I'll tell you why. So we had them the other way around, Pluto in Aries, and when Eris was in Cancer, that was a square going on, and that was kind of around 1090. So this shows how rare all of this is. We had another square from Pluto in Cancer to Pluto in Aries in 1431 to 1433. And that's it. we've never, in our common era, in the age of Pisces, experienced a square from Pluto in Capricorn to Eris in Aries. So this is kind of going to speak to, and I need to share my chart again. This is kind of going to speak to those people who are making predictions in astrology. And I'm not really a predictive astrology, but I do dabble in looking at the bigger pictures and things like that. I don't think we can accurately predict where all this disruption and chaos, very Eris, that we've got is going to take us, because we didn't know Eris existed till 2005. She wasn't named till 2006. She's totally upset so many apple carts since her discovery. Other aspects show completely crazy shake-up aspects too. So, you know, a lot of people are saying Trump's going to win again, Trump's going to win again. I kind of, maybe it's my saggy optimism, but I kind of think that we are going to be surprised by Eris, because I don't think we can discount these newly discovered objects as our universe expands and we're moving into the age of an Aquarius, where, you know, astrological ages last about every 2,600 years. So we've not been moving into a new astrological age before. And in the recorded history that I can find, I might try and go back further. We have not experienced this square, let alone a square from Capricorn, where we have Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn and Uranus in Taurus. That last time those things happened was in 3838 BC. So how can we know what's going to happen now? How can we accurately predict it? I have a kind of this is nothing against other astrologers, but you know, the thing about prediction, my friend Stephen Forrest, friend teacher, wonderful man, always says is, you know, the thing about prediction is that you hear about a lot about it when they get it right. sorry prediction, mundane astrologers. I think there's too many wild cards. So the square we have in June, okay, has Jupiter conjunct. And to go over here and look at this, we have Eris over here. We'll have Mars and Neptune together by then. Again, you know, a lot of these outer planets were not discovered, but the discovery of the dwarf planets has been explosive. You know, if you want to look up dwarf planets, okay, there's Dwarf Planet Astrology, run by Alan Clay. Okay, I did a short course of his, but he's kind of got a site. He wrote a great book on Sedna. And, you know, I think we have more though, but he's got some of them listed. We have Ceres was promoted, so she was known about, but she's nurturing. Pluto was demoted, so he's transformation. New ones we did not know about though are Ixion, which is lawlessness, Orcus, which is delving down and speaking out, Haumea, which is rebirth, and she's in Libra, so she's going to be getting some of these squares from Capricorn too. Maki, which is devotion, Koya, which I don't know if I'm ever saying, I don't know why they named it an impossible to pronounce name. Consciousness, that's new perspectives. Varuna, notability. Eris, consciousness through discord. Sedna, spiritual destiny through transcendent crisis. And then we have another new one called Gong, which is flood of insight, named through a public vote after a Chinese water god. So, and there's more there's more they're checking out. They think there's so many more dwarf planets. So if our universe is expanding with all these discordant energies that are changing things, and we already know that when other planets like Pluto, Neptune, Uranus were discovered, things changed. Uranus brought the internet and various other things. Neptune brought a rise in spirituality and movies and things, film. Pluto discovery really brought kind of discussion about the soul and psychotherapy and diving in deep into the soul and the psyche. So, you know, all these things at least expanded. So how can we know what's going to happen? So this is my talk about giving hope to you. So June the 14th, we have another square. And Pallas Athena, the visionary, is right there as well. So we've got this kind of all this squaring to Eris. And then the next one after that is, oh, I've lost my, oh no, here it is. So December the 10th, which is in eclipse season. Oh, incidentally, the summer one I think is in eclipse season too. I didn't check that, but oh, we've still got the chart up. So it's close to an eclipse. Yeah. Because the eclipse has moved to Gemini and Sagittarius then. December the 10th. Oh, I know that's by an eclipse because me and my husband have just booked flights to go to Chile to watch a total solar eclipse that happened on my birthday, 4 days after this exact square. And so here we have Pluto again. Saturn has moved back into Capricorn, so these two are conjunct. And here they are squaring Eris, and Mars, which is Eris's brother, really, is or said to be, is there over in Aries. Major disruption right after the election, but we'll feel it building. So in the US, that is. So, you know, I think there's going to be surprises. I can't see either that or the election is going to reveal, like, it's not going to be possible to hide the corruption and the fixing anymore if Trump still does win. So, you know, I'm not doing a prediction either way, but I just think it's going to be a good outcome in the end. If you think back to some of those quotes I gave for Eris that I completely agree with. Then next year, to kind of finishing up. So August 27th, 2021. Okay. We have, oh, here she is. Pluto and Eris over here, squaring. Everything else has moved on, but we've had the great conjunction. The last one on December the 10th, incidentally, is exactly 11 days before the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in 0 degrees Aquarius. And that's a great mutation because it's shifting that conjunction that happens every 20 years into air signs. So, wow, amazing. Okay, so we have that one. This one's not associated with any eclipse, I don't think. No, it's not. And then the last exact square will be October the 8th, 2021. All right. And so I'm going blind from looking at these things. Here we are. There's the square again. And so those two last squares are very similar. But in this square, we've got an opposition to Libra over here, widely. All this is coming up to oppose Eris afterwards. I just kind of think she is going to shake things up in a positive way for the next couple of years. Now, after that, we do have to remember, though, that this is a closing square. Pluto will not conjoin Eris again until June the 10th, 2115, and that will be at 18 degrees of Taurus. So, you know, not many of us. Will any of us be alive? Some people just born now will still be alive. Most people listening to this will not be alive. Okay, so let's look at the chart then. But by then we're going to have discovered a whole slew of other dwarf planets and other things, because our universe is expanding at such a crazy rate. So I do want to look at this chart there. June 2115, Pluto and Eris there, conjunct the North Node, start of a new cycle in Taurus, South Node in Pisces, Jupiter at 1 degree Aquarius, basically triggering the degree of the Great Conjunction this year on December the 21st. There's going to be a lot of other discoveries, I think, by then as well. Obviously, there's something a little bit off with the software for looking that far ahead, because this software is not the main software I use for these printouts. So it's the ephemeris on it isn't as good for research, but it's better for showing you on here. So really, 2 days time, you know, they're both such slow moving energies, but I do think it's triggering something. I think it's triggering a shake-up in all our expectations. It's really bringing people in from the outside, the outsiders in. It's showing the corruption of all the elite. We've got the Epstein thing, we've got the Weinstein thing, we've got like all that kind of crazy, yucky, nasty stuff being shown. And I think we're going to be okay overall. So there's my talk for today. So don't forget to subscribe. I'm still researching, still looking for other things. I'm going to look back at some of those dates, even though I haven't found a Capricorn to Aries square. But I'm going to look at some of the other Eris Cycle dates. I'm also going to bring in a couple of the other dwarf planets and look how they fit into this cycle. So watch this space. I should write an article, but there seemed like to be so much to say. Like, how can I write all this stuff? So much love. Happy new moon. There's my good news for you for the age of Aquarius on the Aquarius new moon. So it's Louise Eddington, Cosmic Owl Astrology. Please subscribe to my channel. Signing out.